It's a pretty rare delight to be able to shoot with a one-of-one ultra rare camera that has no other known copies. Yet I got to do that recently and had a lot of fun. The camera that I'm talking about is a 6x7 wide angle viewfinder homemade camera, and I bought this on eBay Kleinanzeigen in Germany recently from somebody in Munich. This had belonged to their dad, and they said that he was pretty much a brainiac and had a bunch of other homemade style cameras, including like a few X-Pan SLR style ones, which would have been fun to shoot. But nonetheless, I got my hands on this and I'm quite happy overall just how it works, as well as just the pure simplicity of it. The camera comes with a highly regarded 47mm f5.6 Schneider wide angle Super Angulon lens, a basic cable release to fire the shutter, a detachable 47mm wide angle viewfinder, and a Mamiya RB67 interchangeable film back. Like any camera, I feel like this one deserves a name, and given that I bought it on Kleinanzeigen, and because it has that Linhof Technica plate on the front, I decided to call it the KleinTech 67. So that's going to be the name from now on, and if you ever see me reference the KleinTech 67, then you know it's this wacky viewfinder camera. In any case, I wanted to give the KleinTech 67 some use, so I decided to go out towards the coast into the Bay Area and take some photos in Muir Woods, as well as to the coast to Point Reyes. And I'm sure it's already obvious that this is a very compact camera and really ergonomic when you have this strap like this here. And really it's on par with almost like a TLR in terms of size and weight. It's probably a little lighter for that matter, but it can actually pack down way smaller than what you see here. And I think that's a huge perk if I take it backpacking or camping or just anything really. For the first roll, I loaded up some classic Ilford FP4 Plus into the RB67 back. Because the camera uses such a back, it's pretty easy to use, pretty straightforward, although there is no double exposure prevention mechanism with this camera. So be forewarned, this camera did initially have some very, very bad light leak issues. No surprise, it's a homemade camera, so I did have to go through a little bit of a process over a few rolls of just figuring that out. Nonetheless, there are some photos that didn't have either a bad leak or any at all, and if you see that the photos look pretty washed out, then it's pretty obvious those are the ones that did have the light leaks, and I just tried to correct it a little bit in post. So this 47mm f5.6 Super Angulon lens is quite highly regarded for medium format work, yet it does have one limitation, and that is that it is supposed to have some sort of natural vignetting. And to counteract that, Schneider actually made a specialty center ND filter for this to offset that vignetting, but said filter costs $400 if you're trying to find like a replacement on eBay or something, and I really don't have the appetite to spend that money on a dinky piece of glass. Now looking at these first few photos that weren't absolutely blasted with light leaks, you might notice that there really isn't much vignetting despite the fact that I don't have that $400 center ND filter. So that's quite awesome not to have to worry about vignetting at all. After leaving the shady Muir Woods, we did make our way out to the sunny California coast, but because we were in the sun, the light leaks really had a stronger, more adverse effect on nearly all of the photos. Nonetheless, I did my best to salvage at least a few of them. These images of the most photographed shipwreck in the world really turned out particularly bad. It's a shame because the boat is starting to degrade really quickly now, and it could be a matter of years before it's completely gone. A few of these photos here at Point Reyes also got a little scorched by the sun, but they were at least somewhat salvageable in the end. So after a day of shooting at Muir Woods and Point Reyes, you'll see, of course, I lost a lot of potentially great photos to that horrible light leak. Yet the photos that weren't really badly affected, you can see just the potential of this camera for general landscapes, as well as just having that lightweight ability. Overall, the contrast and the sharpness of this Schneider lens is amazing. Honestly, there's no vignetting, and just overall, I'm really happy with the results. Focusing was pretty easy because I did have that scale focus and because it is a wide angle lens. So I was a little worried about that at first, but really just using guesswork and either stopping down or just shooting closer to infinity just overall turned out to be a pretty good bet at this point. After those first couple rolls with the light leaks, I decided just to take the camera into the darkroom with a flashlight and find out where the light was leaking through. And then I actually looked all the way around the seams of this Linhof plate, and I noticed that little light was getting through almost on all sides, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't know how you could shoot this camera and not have noticed that from the perspective of the person who built it. Nonetheless, it was a really easy fix. I just put some gaffer's tape all along that seam, and although it's a somewhat temporary fix, it is an effective one. To put this fix to the use, I decided to take this out on a little fly fishing trip I did with my brother, and this was just into the woods nearby, so nothing special, but nonetheless you can give a look and just see how it does. I was still shooting with Ilford FP4 Plus, and with all that harsh midday light, I was surely able to put these new light seals to the test. Also, yes, I do some fly fishing on occasion, although I'm very much a beginner at this point, and I am hoping to actually bring my cameras along more often when I do go fishing, because I think it's just a fun way to involve two hobbies at once, two expensive hobbies at that. Before you ask, yes, the spring water does taste amazing. In any case, it was a short day of shooting, but we did head out a day later with a roll of ADOX CHS 2100 in the hope of finding more rainbow trout. For the most part, I didn't take a whole lot of photos while fishing, but I am quite happy with this photo in particular. The light is quite harsh, but it is a nice memory captured with a nice camera. In any case, I did shoot a few more test shots with this camera after fishing just to test out those seals under various lighting conditions, and it definitely held up in the end. These additional test photos did turn out quite well in my mind, and at this point I'd be pretty comfortable if I were to take this camera along for a long road trip. So yeah, the KleinTech 67 is indeed one of the rarest cameras you'll see, and it is the rarest camera that I have shot with. Even though it had some of its faults because it is a homemade camera, I would say that is a very capable camera. Not only that, but I think just overall image quality is on par with what you'll get with the Mamiya 7 or with my beloved Pentax 67. And that's a very hot take to have had, but that's what I'm saying here is that this is a really high quality camera overall, and just the proof is in the pudding for the most part.